Hello everybody, so today I have a big subject matter that I want to talk about. It's quite a biggie, and let's just start it off. We're not talking about eclipses, we're not talking about moons or Lions Gates or anything like that. Today we just receive a video from Marie just talking about something. Not because we've been flattened by a astro war or anything like that. It's actually just talking about stuff. But this stuff I want to talk about today is quite it is a powerful subject, and it is what is up front and center. And I've been having many conversations and been contacted by a lot of people over the last few days, and it's all been in the light of balance. And lack of actually balance and confusion, and I really felt that I needed to share because there's been an awful lot that I've gone through and that I've kind of fallen across by researching, downloading, and as always here I am sharing with the group. So this is all about the divine feminine. Now, if you're plugged into the spiritual path, you'll know that the divine feminine is just, it's all about rise, sister, rise, finding your voice. The Magdalens are very, very powerful at the moment. Isis, ayahuasca, all the divine feminines are like on fleek right now. It's happening. It's happening. And we're all kind of feeling the energies, be it man or woman, because remember, we all do have the divine masculine and the divine feminine within. So, this is not gender specific. This is about those energies. And so even if you're a dude, you're going to be going through that balance with the divine feminine as well, and probably finding your voice, But what's really, really powerful is they are coming up like a freight train. So we're all connected to it, and we kind of understand the oppression to the feminine frequency, and of course the divine feminine out there in the world when it comes to religions and all that kind of stuff. It's all about the oppression, left, right, and center, up and down. And this is the balance that we're going through. We are all in the process of going through the divine balance within, healing the divine masculine and feminine so they come into balance. Because as I've spoken about it before, that when this whole spiritual path that we're on is all about union, and it's within. And when we get that union, that's when we can connect with our divinity. That's when we are completely in our mastery. That's when we are whole. So that's the process in a really small nutshell. We are all on the same path, working towards the same thing through the same way, which is balancing our masculine and feminine frequencies. And that's like, it's so extensive, this work, and I could talk so many aspects about this, but there's something specific that I want to talk about because there's a lot of confusion. So when we have like this turbulence, if you will, within us, and you've got aspects of the divine masculine healing, and there's some pain and trauma through the divine feminine, there's all of this push and pulls, a lot of conflict within, and that will actually play out in your physical life. You will actually see it around you. I'm looking at my pad here because I have a list. There's a lot I want to talk about today. So if there's confusion within, you're going to have your confusion goggles on, and you're going to see confusion out there. And where is the first place that we go to try and fix our shit is out there, which is obviously incorrect because we've got to do it from within. As I've always said before, if you work with, everything is from within. So if you want to, work from within, everything will change out there. But if you want to work solely out there, you're going to be putting out fires and exhausting yourself and actually getting absolutely nowhere. So every single thing, the path to wholeness, there's no other way except through your heart portal in here. That's where everything is, period. So now we have a location pin on where your pot of gold is. We're all on the same page, right? We're all within, right? So this is the confusion, because there's a lot of stuff going out there as well, which is reflective as well in the divine feminine and the divine masculine turbulence, as I call it. Banks, governments, all of the controlling big systems, even down to like really big like chains of stores, and just they're the ones that blanket all the small businesses, and the little one-man band who's trying to like get a little thing going gets squashed because there's all these like front runners, like big chains of stores. That can also be regarded by masculine. So I'm talking about the big stuff now. And then since lockdown, obviously all of this turbulence has gone on, and everybody's freaked out thinking the world is nigh, end of the world is nigh, which is actually, no, not. It's actually, the world is just beginning, because what's happening is the downfall of the divine masculine in the shadow, the control, the holding on, it's a man's world kind of vibe. That is all falling apart, which is why governments are falling apart left, right and centre. It's why big chains of stores have just collapsed. It's like the whole system that we live in that has been around us, which is the old way, which is basically a world that was governed by the divine masculine in the shadow, without the presence of the divine feminine. It's all collapsing. Okay, so that's what you'll see out there. So don't get it twisted that we are basically going to a dark place. We're actually not. We are detoxing, and this is exactly what's going on. So in that respect, out there, the divine masculine is healing itself. Okay, so you get the gist of the external environment right now. So the path of the divine feminine is the creativity, the flow, and she is supposed to vibe with the divine masculine with just effortless ease. And he's the one that creates a system and a grid work for her to land into. But what we've experienced in our lives and out there is is controlling bank systems, governments that tell us what to do, systems and higher orders that tell us how to think, even down to religions and so forth, so even down to schooling systems, that's why our children are thriving when they go to homeschooling, because most of them are letting the kids walk around with no shoes on and just play around in the garden, and they teach them out there in nature. And then all of a sudden you find that these children who are being taught in that manner, away from the schooling system where everybody has to wear the same uniform and look the same, everybody has to conform. If you so much as sneeze out the wrong direction, you're going to get taken out. That's the old system falling. Not all schools are like that, obviously, but it's just a general overview here. I'm just trying to show you like the shadow and the light variance, and that's what I'm talking about. So that is going on within you, and that is going on outside of you as well. So what is happening now? Because the healing, so let's go back to our healing path about the divine feminine, and the divine masculine. And we're now all understanding, okay, we've got the memo. We understand now from a spiritual aspect that we have to heal our divine feminine. We have to heal our divine masculine. So we've got that, right? Because when those two are healed and they come into union, then we are in unconditional love and harmony, and we are whole, right? So we've got that, all right? So now, with that understanding, okay, we do know that, as I've just said, that the divine feminine is coming up and she's finding her voice. Now, this is where a lot of the confusion comes in, because there's all these sisters going, rise, sister, rise, and we're all burning our bras and sitting in the red tent and kind of going, woo, sisters, and and maybe it's a little bit aggressive now, because now we've got a pendulum swing, because now all the sisters are finding their voices and they're getting like, woo. Some of them are getting a little bit over the top, where it's now becoming slightly aggressive and standoffish to the divine masculine. So you see the pendulum swing has gone too far out there. And what this is all about is neutrality, okay? So it's not about the women aggressively having to elbow their way in. That's not what it's about. It's about the divine feminine being seen and heard, and her rightfully taking her place next to the divine masculine. So it's not that we want to push the divine masculine out. All banks and all governments and men in your life and your masculine within is controlling. Get rid of him. No, we don't want to burn him at the stake, because we need the divine masculine. The divine masculine needs the divine feminine. But it's about dynamics. We've got to get the dynamic right. We've got to get the balance right. There's that word again, balance. We have to get the balance right. And the balance with the divine feminine, I'm going to give you some spiritual facts now, okay? Actually, I'm going to give you some physiological facts. Do you know that when an egg or sperm comes in, or when a baby is born, okay, like into the womb, the first presence is the divine feminine, and from the divine feminine, the divine masculine is born. Now, we've been told, like, God, Adam took a rib out and made us. We were an afterthought. That ain't true. Don't believe the hype. That's not how it is at all. But it's not to say that the divine masculine is anything less than. It's just to say that we are actually a factor. So we don't want to push him off his perch, so to speak. We just need the divine feminine to come up and take her place, because she's been erased from ancient scriptures. She's been erased from temples. She's been erased from any kind of teaching. She's been erased from within us. So now she needs to come up, and this is why it's about rise, sister, rise. Now, in Egypt, we all know that I have a very, very strong affiliation with Egypt. In Egypt, many of the statues, you will see the divine feminine, okay? And then you will see the divine masculine. So basically, woman form in a statue, and a man that stands slightly behind, and he puts his hand on her shoulder, and he slightly stands behind her. Not because she's better than the men, it's because it shows the absolute honor and love and respect that they had for the divine feminine, okay? Even the men, even the pharaohs, they wore women's wigs in Egypt in honor of the divine feminine. And you'll find this is prevalent all the way through many, many religions and many, many different countries, and you can backtrack it and it's all there. But over the years, she's been scrubbed out. Now, I'm going to tell you now why, and I'm going to just stay with me because I'm working up to something here, okay? So she's been scrubbed out, all right? Now, that is where I got left. And I was like, okay, so she's been scrubbed out. We need to bring the divine feminine back in, heal ourselves, blah, blah, blah. No, there's more, because what is going on in the world right now, and a lot of us are very, very much tapped into the whole new world order. I don't even know what they call it, but, you know, basically being controlled. We need to be chipped and like, you know, we're the dark forces, the dark side, whatever you want to call it, over this COVID crazy, okay? There's this whole other force that's coming against the light, right? And we're wanting to be controlled. And that's obviously not going to happen. So if you backtrack from history, and you go all the way back to the ancient scriptures, they made it so that they smashed up all of the temples that had the divine feminine. They, like I say, they erased her. Why did they do that? Because to come into your fullness, into your wholeness, to be the most kick-ass, badass light being, you know, the universe has ever seen, which is who you truly are, to come into your fullness and your divinity and to be in your mastery, there has to be a divine union between the divine masculine and feminine. Now, how clever is it that if you remove the divine feminine, like completely, eventually that's going to find its way within us, okay? And guess what? We've got a missing chess piece off the board. And here we all are trying to get our wholeness on, trying to be like whole, trying to basically ascend and be this next level of whatever, being a high vibrational planet and person. But they've scrubbed out the vital ingredient. So if the divine feminine isn't there, we can't come into wholeness. So she has been seen as very much a power player, and the forces, I'm just going to call them the forces, the lower vibrational forces, even back to thousands of years ago, even prior to Jesus, they wiped her out. And for good reason, because if they wiped her out, then they could keep control and we would never come into our power. So the other day, I was given a video. In fact, my husband showed me a video. And yes, it was another one of these, oh, listen to this Trump war. Now, this isn't a political video, so I do not want any chit chat about Trump or whatever. This is pure spiritual, okay? And that's it and that's all. Now, I just want to say, I'm Team Trump because I see him as an earth angel and I've always have done. And I've understood his purpose here on planet Earth and why he's doing what he's doing. I know not everybody thinks about that, but you know, we all have our opinions and that's mine. So this video had him in it and they showed footage of him talking about exactly what I'm talking about. How he's saying, no, we are not doing this whole world order thing. We will not be controlled. We will not be globalists. I mean, I'm not a politician. I just heard that word and was like, I got the gist. Meaning we're not going to be part of their crew, the Bill Gates and all that kind of stuff. We're not doing that. And he's trying to be like, fight for your rights, freedom, but on a bigger level. He was sent here at this time for a reason. Nobody likes Trump. Everybody's gone against him. And who set that up? Who set that up, do you think? Just asking, you know? So you've got to look at all of these things and make your own, you know, it's not coincidence, is it, you know? But anyway, well, then I started to look and my husband said to me, you do realize that because I was like, wow, he's the divine masculine but feminine, he's fighting for us. And then my husband said, you know, the woman that speaks for him, it's a woman. And I was like, no. So there he has, like this woman who apparently is badass, speaking to the press and staving off all of this negative energy. So in a way, you got to wipe the sleep out your eyes, and you got to sort of like, check out what's going on around you and why. Because he's fighting actually to bring the divine feminine back, which is your voice, which is your power. So when you think about all of these orders, and I mean religions, and I really don't like talking about this, but it's relevant and it needs to be spoken about. Take all of that, take all of the religion, whatever. They're all men. They're all men. Even look, we all know Yahweh and God, but there's also Sophia, the goddess Sophia, who is the counterpart to God. All of these things, some people know, some people don't know. So this is what I'm saying. I think if you sit there and you start to scratch the surface, you will understand that the divine feminine has been scrubbed, so we are disempowered and will be disempowered for eternity. So why I'm saying this is because it's really important, because I feel like the energy out there is going up to the next level out there, all the drama's starting again. But it can't happen, okay? And it can't, because the bottom line is, if the dark side, let's call them that, if the dark side had actually been winning, I wouldn't be doing this video now. If the dark side, or this shadow divine masculine that's had control for eons, if they were winning, we would have all supposedly died of a killer virus, or we'd all have chips in us. If they were winning, I wouldn't be sat here, have created an international business online and creating another one, which I'm about to fire off just now, because the energy just wouldn't allow it, because I'd be too busy being controlled and not in my power. You see what I'm saying? So what this whole video is all about, just to bring it all into wholeness, is don't be scared of what goes on outside of you. Meaning the news, what people are saying, and all the rest of it. Understand the bigger picture, that if you are indeed watching this video, then that means the energy, the light, the love, and love is the most powerful frequency in the universe over anything. All of this child trafficking and all that kind of stuff, it's going to come out in the wash. Why? Because love is winning right now. That frequency is so fucking high that it's purging all the stuff that's sat in the darkness, which is all the nasty. So that's why we're hearing about child trafficking. That's why we're now understanding that all those people that did the riots in various places of the world were paid to do that, because it's all part of this big world order. So it's all just a lie, an illusion. So the only thing that you need to tap into is knowing, okay, I'm sat here listening to this video of light from Marie. I'm feeling optimistic about my life because I'm in creation mode. If that's what's going on for you, then we've won the war. So you do not need to be affected or distracted by any of that going on out there. This is just purely to bring everything onto your awareness about the divine feminine. And I even picked up a book last night that I've been reading, and blow me down, I turn over the pages and it's all about this. Actually, evidence and scriptures back then about what the masculine back there did on a historical religion level to wipe out the divine feminine. Go read up about it. It's quite interesting. But what is happening right now is we are stepping back into our feminine, and the feminine is all around us, even within you dudes. So you know what? You just got to keep the faith. You got to keep creating. Stay in your love vibration. Don't believe the hype. And just keep doing you, boo, which is just like pure love vibration, heart consciousness, oneness, wisdom. Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for just taking the time to absorbing this. And we'll see each other soon. Peace.